Let's start with the simple truth most people overlook. Before you ever think about investing, you must understand how money works when you save versus when you invest. These are not competing ideas, they are partners, but they work at very different times in your financial journey. Saving money is about safety. Investing money is about growth. And confusing the two is where most financial mistakes begin. Hi, I'm Imran, instructor of finance courses and data analyst. When you save money, especially in a high-yield savings account, your main goal is protection. The money stays stable. It doesn't go up dramatically, but it also doesn't suddenly disappear. That's why financial planners strongly recommend savings as your first line of defense. Life happens. Jobs are lost, cars break down, medical bills appear out of nowhere. That's why having a financial cushion is not optional, it's essential. Experts consistently say that everyone should build an emergency fund before investing anything in the stock market. This fund gives you access to cash when you need it most, without forcing you to sell investments at the wrong time. A key point here is risk. Savings accounts, especially FDIC-insured high-yield savings accounts, are considered nearly risk-free for short-term needs. Your balance doesn't fluctuate daily like investments do. That stability matters when the money is meant for emergencies or short-term goals. Now, here's where people get confused. They hear stories of the stock market growing fast and think, why not invest everything right away? Because investing comes with uncertainty. Markets rise and fall, your balance can increase one day and drop the next. That's fine for long-term goals, but dangerous for money you might need tomorrow. That's why understanding how money works when you invest versus when you save starts with this rule. If you might need the money soon, save it. If you won't need it for years, invest it, but only after saving first. Savings also play another role most people don't talk about. They're not just a safety net, they're also an opportunity fund. Cash on hand allows you to act quickly, whether that's a new business idea, a market opportunity, or a major life decision. Without savings, opportunities pass you by. So before asking, how much should I invest, the real question is, do I have enough saved to protect myself if life goes wrong? And in the next part, we'll break down exactly how much savings is considered enough depending on your income and job security, because the number's not the same for everyone. Now that you understand why saving comes first, let's answer the question everyone asks. How much should I actually save before I invest? This is where financial planners use a simple but powerful guideline based on job security and income stability. Because when it comes to emergencies, one size does not fit all. Certified financial planners recommend the following emergency fund benchmarks, measured in months of living expenses, not income. Here's how it breaks down. If you're part of a household with 2 incomes and very secure jobs, the recommended emergency fund is 3 months of expenses. Why less? Because if one income is disrupted, the other may still support basic needs. If you're in a household with 2 incomes but less stable employment or one partner isn't working, the recommendation increases to 6 months of expenses. And if you rely on a single income that isn't very secure, experts suggest keeping 1 full year of expenses saved. That may sound extreme, but think about it. If your income disappears tomorrow, how long could you realistically survive without panic? That's the real purpose of an emergency fund. It buys you time, clarity, and control. This is where high-yield savings accounts shine. They allow your money to grow slightly while staying accessible and protected. There's no market risk, no daily swings, just liquidity and peace of mind. And savings accounts aren't only for emergencies. They're also ideal for short-term goals, like a home down payment, a planned relocation, starting a business, any expense within the next couple of years. Putting this kind of money into the stock market is risky because timing matters. A market downturn at the wrong moment could force you to sell at a loss. Savings protect you from that mistake. Here's a mistake many beginners make. They skip savings and jump straight into investing because it feels productive. But investing without a safety net creates stress. The moment the market dips, fear kicks in. People panic sell, not because investing is bad, but because they invested money they couldn't afford to lose. Understanding how money works when you invest versus when you save means knowing that savings protect your emotions, not just your finances. Once your emergency fund is complete and your short-term goals are funded, only then does investing make sense. So ask yourself honestly, do I have enough cash to handle an emergency? Would I be forced to sell investments if income stopped? If the answer is no, saving still comes first. In the next part, we'll talk about time and why committing your money for 2 to 5 years completely changes where it should go.
Here's where the conversation shifts. Once your emergency fund is solid, the next deciding factor is time. Specifically, how long can you leave the money untouched? This is the core of how money works when you invest versus when you save. Savings accounts are great for safety, but they come with a hidden problem: low returns. Even the best high-yield savings accounts often earn returns that are lower than inflation. That means while your balance stays stable, its purchasing power slowly shrinks over time. In simple terms, your money buys less in the future than it does today. That's where investing becomes necessary. If you don't need the money for at least 2 to 5 years or longer, financial planners generally recommend investing instead of saving. Why? Because over longer periods, a diversified investment portfolio has historically produced higher average returns than savings accounts, even with short-term ups and downs. But there's a condition. You must be emotionally and financially prepared to ride out market fluctuations. Investment balances move. Some days are up, some days are down. That's normal. What matters is your investment horizon, the length of time you can stay invested without needing the cash. For long-term goals like retirement, long-term wealth building, future financial independence, saving alone is not enough. Investing gives your money a chance to outpace inflation and grow meaningfully over time. This doesn't mean taking extreme risks. Many experts recommend starting with a low-risk, diversified investment portfolio, especially for beginners. One of the most common beginner-friendly tools is an exchange-traded fund, or ETF. ETFs hold a collection of assets, often tracking major indexes like the S&P 500, giving you broad market exposure without needing large amounts of capital. They're flexible, cost-effective, and allow you to choose how aggressive or conservative you want to be based on your timeline. The key question isn't which investment is best. It's this: what level of risk can you afford with this money? If losing part of it would derail your life, it doesn't belong in the market. If you can leave it untouched for years and ride out volatility, investing becomes a powerful tool. In the final part, we'll tie everything together and show you exactly when to save, when to invest, and how to balance both without confusion.
By now, you've seen the full picture. Saving and investing are not rivals. They serve different purposes at different times. Understanding how money works when you invest versus when you save comes down to answering a few honest questions. First, do I have an adequate emergency fund? If not, saving is still your priority, no matter how exciting investing sounds. Second, will I need this money within the next 2 years? If yes, saving is the safer choice. Market volatility and short timelines don't mix. Third, can I commit to leaving this money invested for 2 to 5 years or longer? If yes, and your safety net is secure, investing becomes logical. This is the mental checklist many certified financial planners recommend before putting money into the market. Savings give you stability. Investments give you growth. Skipping either one creates imbalance. Too much saving means your money slowly loses value to inflation. Too much investing without a cushion creates stress and poor decisions. The smartest approach is balance. Build your emergency fund first. Fund your short-term goals with savings. Then invest surplus cash for long-term growth. This way, market downturns don't scare you because your life isn't dependent on your investments in the short run. And market growth works in your favor because time and compounding do the heavy lifting. Most financial success doesn't come from chasing returns. It comes from understanding when to use each tool. Once you master that, money stops feeling confusing and starts working for you. If you want to truly master how money works, the next step is learning how to structure investments for different life stages, because what works at 25 looks very different at 45, and that's where the real strategy begins.